It's Divas That Care Radio. Stories, strategies, and ideas to inspire positive change. Welcome to Divas That Care, a network of women committed to making our world a better place for everyone. This is a global movement for women, by women, engaged in a collaborative effort to create a better world for future generations. To find out more about the movement, visit divasthatcare.com after the show. Right now, though, stay tuned for another jolt of inspiration.
Magical day to all. Welcome to Divas That Care Network. I am Joyce Benning, and I will be your host for this magical, robust lifestyle show. I would like to thank all of our listeners that have tuned into this podcast on the numerous different platforms. I am so very grateful and thankful for each and every one of you. And you are all in for a magical show today, as I have with me one of my amazing returning divas, Joanne Mouse Router. I am so excited to have her back on my show again. And her and I are going to chat about grief anniversary dates. Oh my, how we all have them in our life, be they from humans or be they from our animal families. We all have those dates in our life. So with that, Joanne, would you please introduce yourself to our listeners today?
Hi, Joyce. I'm so happy to be here. And my name is Joanne Moise Routier, and I know it is a mouthful to say that name. But anyways, I am located in Ontario, Canada. I have specialized in grief the last 2 years. I am an equine assisted learning coach, mentor, guide of over a decade. I am double certified there. I am an author, published my book last year, December 2023, which is called Heart Whispers, A Mother's Unfiltered Words of Grief. So that is who I am. I work with horses. I am a coach. I am a mentor, and I specialize in grief out of a 200-acre farm ranch in Alexandria, a little town, Alexandria, Ontario, Canada. So that is who I am.
Oh, wow. And her book, Heart Whispers, is beautiful. The cover alone will draw you to it. So Joanne has experienced grief firsthand in so many ways. So, Joanne, I'll just let you start to share with how you would like to open this up to our listeners today to share about grief anniversary dates.
And, you know, we are in a season that I feel is changing for many different reasons. Mother Earth, Mother Nature, we are going into fall, and that has sat with me into the conversation of upcoming anniversary dates from a loss of any kind that someone has suffered, endured, gone through the journey of grief. And I have clients that come here, and one of the aspects that jumped out at me is when an anniversary date of a loss is coming up and how a person can actually react to the anniversary upcoming date. And personally, and may I share, Joyce, that this is my experience. Anything that I speak of is my experience of truth from an event, expertise with clients, and I share from what is known and fact and science-based. So from my experience, number one, an anniversary date of a loss, I do not like the word anniversary, because when you actually look and feel the word anniversary, Right away, you're going into the feeling of anniversary is supposed to be a happy celebration. It's an anniversary. Well, when there is a birth of a human, it's a birth date. It's not an anniversary date because they were birthed. So that's a birth date. And again, to me, anniversary date of a loss is not fitting. I would rather say the actual date of the memory date, the loss date. Say the truth of what it is. And I personally am going to share with you what I went through this past August, because August has many dates for me. Number one, my birthday. Number two, my daughter's birthday. And number three, the death date of my son that happened 2 years ago. How do you say it's an anniversary date? How do you actually feel this? To me, I can't feel an anniversary date. So I put that out of my mind because it's not an anniversary date for me. These dates are actually dates of anticipatory grief that is coming up. So the month of July for me was busy with clients and the farm, the ranch, animals, my horses, everything. It's busy. It's always busy. But then also someone pointed out, we are at the end of July. We are going into the long weekend of August. And I just about lost myself. What I did was I froze. I went into the traumatic state of fight, flight, or freeze. And I froze because it hit me, the anticipation of going through a remembrance of a date of a loss of my son. Not only that, it had created so much angst of emotion. It created an emotion of fear. It created an emotion of somatic body traumatic recognition from past. It is so important and crucial to actually understand what these dates mean about the recognition of a previous loss. And grief is loss. Loss is grief. And grief has many different modalities. And on today's topic is about upcoming grief date of a marker. Could be a year, could be 6 months, whatever it may be. And a loss doesn't mean only a loss of a loved one. It could be many different losses, an animal, a deep loss of the self, recognizing that there was abuse in our life, recognizing that we have become a new person in the loss of a loved one. So we lost ourselves. Could be a loss of a job. A divorce is a loss. A move is a loss. It is all integration of different emotions that has dysregulated our system from a routine and comfort zone that we know how to live. This has all been disrupted. So a date is a date of remembrance. So we go into the, I remember when, oh my gosh, it was a year ago. Oh my gosh, it was 6 months ago, a month ago, a week ago. It's a date of remembrance. So in these dates, you have anticipatory grief leading up to many different emotions. For me, I am going to share a little bit about my story of what happened whenever I got told in July that August was coming. And in my fight, flight, and freeze mode, I felt a noose around my neck, literally so tight around my throat that I couldn't swallow. And then I recognized that I went into a part and a piece of me went into trauma. And I had to sit and recognize, and I thank God that I have my faith and my belief and my assistance and angels and spirit guides, whatever your belief is. I have a strong one, and I thank God for it, because I wouldn't be able to go through what I go through. So I sat with the moment that I recognized I was fearing the month of August coming up. I sat with it. I cried with it. And I had to recognize what is going on in my body. Where are these fears coming from? Is my mind actually bringing me back to the traumatic date? Is my mind bringing me back into reliving the memory, which I caught myself? I can have a memory, but I do not have to step back into the trauma of the event. That was a crucial piece. I had to self-talk myself. And that's where I sit and I say, dear God, please help me. I journal. I'm a big journaler. Of course, that's how I wrote my book. And in my journaling, I can unravel the process of where I am at, what is actually going to give me the tools to process these emotions, to go through, to get to the other side of. But if I wouldn't sit with it, I wouldn't be able to heal it. Mm-hmm. And that is so, so important for anybody that's going through grief. Please do not suppress an emotion. Never, ever suppress it, because suppressed emotions are unwillingness of ourselves to go actually analyze that emotion, sit with it, let it actually have its time in our psyche, and let it process and let it just flow. And in that flow, you allow it to vacate the premises, which is your mind, emotion, mentally, physically, and spiritually. And you can actually sit and say, oof, I got so much knowledge from sitting in grief. I got so much information about myself. I got recognition about where I am at today from sitting with it, from the upcoming quote unquote anniversary date. And then I was able to actually feel my somatic body, myself, stopping in mid-flow of tears, being able to actually look around and recognize I am not in the memory of the original event date. I am in a present moment that has brought me a memory of. So I can look around me, see the beauty of God's nature, Mother Earth, take a breath, get regrounded, and reacclaimed to myself. Then I get out of the anticipatory what that date represents. then I can recognize it as a different species in my experience of life. So working with clients, I'm able to recognize this 1,000 miles away because I know from my own experience of myself in the emotions, in the thoughts, in the memories, in the psyche, in the trauma, and all of it. So I had clients come in and I recognized that they are at a point in their lives not able to recognize that it was the anticipatory date of an anniversary that was coming up. We all fall into fear of these dates, but as soon as we can be guided, and that's why grief work, I will tell you with 1,000% of my heart and soul, do not do grief work alone. Have someone with you. And I have a mentor, but I also have 4 therapists. And my 4 therapists are called Oreo, Belle, Ellie, and Max, my horses. So I am super blessed there. And so that's why I have an abundance of clients where when they are matched in alignment with someone that understands them, can validate them, witness them, and understand what they're going through and how I can actually be bringing them along a journey that is not feared, a journey that is understood, a journey that is explained about anticipatory grief. And that may mean the life that you would have had with the loss that you lost, that person, that animal. Let's say it was a horse, your heart horse, and the horse passed. Well, that is a piece of identity of yourself that you also lost. Mm-hmm. And then we question, who am I? What am I going to do? We had a whole life ahead of us. With your loved one, same thing. And it is a processing and journeying, but with guidance, you are held and supported in a sacred space where I bring my clients. And when I sit with myself, I have to do this too, is to understand what this all means. And acceptance, I don't even like that word. You can't tell someone, well, when you accept this and when you have surrendered to it, you'll feel better. Mm-hmm. I've heard that so many times. And I don't even know if it needs to be in a vocabulary about, I am so big on words, as you can tell, because the conditioning of words, you can surrender to something that is out of your control. Yes, you can. You can surrender to many things, but I don't like to bring surrendering and acceptance in somebody's journey of grief, because all that is adding is a layer of upset and anger and anguish to the one who's going through grief. Because if I was told at the beginning, well, you got to accept it, Joanne, I think I would have walked out the door. Mm-hmm. No, I don't think. I know I would have walked out the door. You don't tell me. Do not tell me. And that is the piece that I cherish as now being a certified grief educator. I trust in my wisdom because of my experience, personal experience about death. I lost parents, I lost a sister, lost animals. So I have multitudes, just like everybody, of grief to the table. But I really respect the fact that I got certified and I understand grief to this point. So getting back to the surrender and acceptance, I would not say that, as I would not want to be told this. And I guide my clients, and the horses are the magical pieces of all of this. The horses will read the energetics and the blocks of clients, because in a herd, horses need wellness. Horses in a herd need balance. So when we as humans step into their herd, of course, they are going to scrutinize, scan us, and make sure that we are part of their herd. So working with grief, you are not balanced. You are not well. So a horse will step up real quick. And I can read my horses. Like I said, I've been doing this for over a decade. I can read my horses and I can read clients. And I understand stages of where they are at. There is no linear stage. There is no linear time about grief or anything. You show up where you are at every time. And that's how you end up healing a piece at a time, which builds strength at a time. So they're coming with anticipatory grief. I've had many. And just like me, they fear the date. So I go through some resolutions with them. I explain what anticipatory grief is. I explain what can happen in the processing, in the journey. And everyone has their own. So I just want to, the time goes by so quick here, quickly talk about one piece that I've noticed with myself. If I didn't have this in myself during grief, you can really take a hit on self-worth. Because self-worth comes from the words that is very normal to hear when someone is going through grief. And of course, the upcoming dates of an anniversary, quote unquote, of a loss. You hear often, I wish I could have. If only I would have. I could have done more. I could have said more. I should have done this. I should have done that. Every time those shoulda, woulda, could have come out of the individual, a piece of their heart is even more broken. Not towards the loss, but towards themselves. And it's an actual happening that occurs subconsciously. You are not aware that your self-worth is taking a hit during grief. And actually, self-worth is probably a teaching of another podcast, Joyce, that I would love to do. Because I've taught about self-worth and it is easily spiraled out of control because self-worth comes from lack of self-love. And in this whole piece of grief is because you lost love, because you loved the person, because you loved the animal, because you loved where you lived, because you loved your job. So you take a hit in your self-worth because of the lack of self-love. And because of the lack of self-love, you can actually go into a deeper piece, which is self-hate. And I work with my clients about building your self-worth, getting back your self-love. And in the end, like I said, I would really like to come back and talk about the self-worth piece,
Definitely.
because we have to learn in rebuilding ourselves from the traumatic event and shatteredness of a loss. And in our grief journey, we have to rebuild ourselves. And that is what I have learned for myself, because I sat in my grief. I journaled. I had a mentor. I had a grief doula. I knew what I needed before I hit complete rock bottom and losing of myself. So I am here to recognize that a grief anniversary date can be very troublesome. And I am also here to say that as time goes by, when you sit in the grief of the upcoming date, because grief doesn't go away, grief changes. Mm-hmm. Grief has ebbs and flows. It doesn't go away. You can't predict grief. And I actually call grief her. She can be a real biatch. She can be persistent. She can be very patient. She will keep knocking on your door until you give her the attention she is asking for. If not, then that is a suppressed emotion that will stay in your body that you will suffer in addition to, on top of your grief. It may come out in anger, irritation, very frustrated, lack of patience. And the biggest piece is dis-ease in the body that will come up with, I have sore joints, I've developed diabetes, I have hard time walking. Our bodies are very good messengers. So I highly recommend, if anyone is coming up to a date that is meaningful to them because of a loss, please sit with it. There are golden nuggets in it, but you won't find them unless you sit with them. Your path of the journey of grief does have golden nuggets. They're there waiting, but you need to show up. And showing up is sitting down and being with yourself during this grief. And that is the only way. She will leave you alone for a while. And that is the only way that grief, actually starts to ebb and flow in the muscle. So that is my piece for today. Joyce, thank you very much for, allowing me to speak about this, because this is true, near, dear to my heart. And I am a voice, and I declared this mission and my passion to help others during grief, to understand it, to be guided through it, to have some kind of an awareness and help and assistance during their journey. It is so important, because too many stories that I've heard of people knocking on doors to look for a resource to help them through their grief, that it wasn't there. So I am an advocate for the grieving hearts out there. And I hope, I know it did help those listeners about grief's anniversary dates. Yeah. So there, thank you so much, Joyce.
Oh, Joanne, that was so heart touching. I had tears in my eyes through most of it, because so much of it just, it comes right to the heart, and how true it all was. You left so many beautiful golden nuggets. And before we do close, I definitely want you back on another show, as you had said, about talking about self-worth. And I know there's so much more you can share of your experiences. So yes, you will definitely be back. I love it.
Oh,
and
thanks.
You're so welcome. And would you please share with our listeners the best ways to connect with you?
Yes, absolutely. I really do stress anybody who is in grief, please reach out. I do one-on-ones. I do group. I do Zooms. I am here. Please do not feel that you are left alone during the journey of grief. So you can reach me on my website from my name, JoanneRoutier.com. You can also reach me email, which is doublebeauty@outlook.com. And if I'm not mistaken, Joyce, you will have this when you post the replay.
Yes.
And I am going to go a step further. You will find it if you look, my phone number, which is 613-930-5152. I am also on Facebook under Joanne Moise Routier. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Joyce's page. So there are many ways to find me. I appreciate each and every one of you, and reach out. This is huge. Thank you, Joyce.
Oh, you are so welcome, Joanne. And I want to thank you so much. And may magic fill your days till you and I chat again on Robust Lifestyle Show.
Thank you so much. Looking forward to the next one.
Yes, so am I, and you're so welcome. And with that, I want to thank all of our listeners for listening to this amazing show with our absolutely incredible diva, Joanne Moise Routier. And I would like for you to share this show with all your family and friends. Check out all the other hosts and their shows on divasthatcare.com. And remember some of the beautiful golden nuggets that Joanne left with us. Don't suppress the emotions. Let it flow. Sit with it. Take a memory and step back. Use it as a memory rather than stepping back into the event itself. And you did lose a piece of your identity through this loss. And let Joanne help you recover and go on with your life. So with that, I want to wish each of you a very magical day. Give your animals a great big extra hug and share all your love with them as they so deserve it. And until we connect again on Robust Lifestyles, stay strong and healthy.
Thanks for listening. This show was brought to you by Divas That Care. Connect with us on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course on divasthatcare.com, where you can subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss a thing.